It's that time again, Monday night, live in the counselor's corner, and also hanging out with Herb. Man, you sometimes you never ever get to a part four. When you myself, Herbert, who follows sports, when you have like epic boxing matches, you might have a trilogy or something like that. But when you start talking part four, that means it's serious. So let me just read the introduction. But before that, Derek Hall, thanks for joining. Sandra Princess Brown, Nika, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. Hello, Sandra. So are you relationship ready? Part four. So that just lets you know that people really want to figure this stuff out. And I know some people probably watching like, okay, who's 40 or almost 50 and don't know how to figure out a relationship. But those be the same people that's struggling and they faking jacks like they got something good going on, but they struggling. But here we go. Well, sometimes certain topics must continue until we get on the same page. And after parts 1, 2, and 3, it's clear that the relationship gap between men and women seem to get wider. So Herbert felt like these 5 essential talking points may help bring some closure to the topic, or who knows, it may just widen the gap. Number 1, do you finish one relationship and heal before getting into the next one? Number 2, what is your IPO, your initial public offering? Number 3, can you hold a conversation? Conversation is a lost start. We already know that. Some people can't hold a conversation worth a damn because they're just not that versed. Number 4, do you have trust issues? And number 5, can you walk in rhythm with a prospective mate? And walking in a rhythm, you got to be on point with that. So here we have it. I don't think I have any counselors' concerns. I do want to give a couple shout outs. Shout out to Tisha Freeney, a loyal supporter, of my work. I think it was her birthday, maybe Friday. So she just turned big 50. Yeah, I'm calling it out because we are getting close to that. Also, a shout out to Yolanda Milton, Jenny Lee, just turned 50 today. So they both looking good, very supportive of what I do. Grew up with them, college, high school and stuff. So, it's sad to say that we're losing a lot of people before they hit that major milestone. But them two, they still grinding, still working, looking good, staying fit, and that's a beautiful thing. Also, Herb is having a big birthday tomorrow, and I've seen some footage this weekend of you, Herb, and T.O., like the CNN ice skating and ballroom dancing. I was like, damn, I was kind of jealous sitting around like, man, Herb doing it big. So, Herb, what's good, man? Tell us about it.
Most people probably don't know tomorrow. Actually, tonight at midnight, I will be celebrating number 48. And generally, being that it's a slow time of the year, I usually take some vacation time, a couple of days, and celebrate my birthday weekend starting off in Toronto. And that's what I did. The last few years, things haven't been working out quite right for me, whether it's been financial issues or staffing issues. So everything just happened to fall in place. And I said to myself, you know what? I owe it to myself. I've been busy this weekend. I've been putting in the work. It's time to enjoy the fruits of my labor. So I, took a couple of days off and slid on up to Toronto. For me, it's an hour drive. And, I've been telling people this, get out, experience the world, man, live, spend a little money, break some bread on yourself. If you're not going to treat yourself well, I'm also going to treat you well. So, I slid on up to Toronto, slapped on a pair of ice skates I hadn't been on in a couple of years, did some live shooting from there. And then I went on to the CN Tower. And it's funny, I've been going to Toronto for literally about 25 years. Most of the time, either to see Yankees games. I've been up there to see the Raptors and the Nuggets play back when Carmelo Anthony played for them, and I'm a huge Syracuse fan, so obviously I was rocking the Melo jersey, but Melo didn't play that night. He was injured, so it was a mild disappointment. Mm-hmm. So I went up there, checked out the CN Tower, and I encourage people. Toronto is a very diverse, multicultural city. Anything that you want, you can get. Anything that you want to do, you pretty much can do. Like I said, they have the NBA. Hockey fans out there, although it's difficult to get Toronto Leafs tickets because they're fanatical and they're diehard about the Canadians. So usually that's a pretty difficult ticket to secure. In fact, most of the Toronto Maple Leaf fans, when they play the Buffalo Sabres, they come down here and get tickets. So that game is always sold out, no matter how bad the Maple Leafs are or the Sabres are. It just so happens that the Sabres are actually doing reasonably well. They've hit a goal slump, so they're kind of backsliding in the stats, but that's okay because I had bought a 6-pack. Cost me just under $900. 6-pack, for those of you who don't know, is you get to select 6 games and you get the tickets at low face value price for those games. So,
I thought you was talking about a 6-pack of beer cost $900. I was going to say them damn Canadians out of damn line. They out of line. Man.
Yeah, no, can't stand beer, man. Beer is the one thing I've never ever drank. Just don't have the aptitude for it. My boy's always getting on me about it. He said, "Herbert, man, you got to try something that fits your palate, man. They got sweet, they got this." I said, "Beer, man, it reminds me of just what drinking out of a toilet after somebody's urinated in. It's just I can't deal with it."
Hey, now. Well,
but so I got the 6-pack starting tomorrow. I'm gonna check out the Sabres and see how they look. And I tell you, there's nothing like watching a live sporting event. You don't have the commentators, you don't have any of those disruptions. It's just you. If you go with somebody else, the person you're with, or if you go by yourself, which I did 2 years ago. Hockey was the actual last major sport I had to see live. So it was an experience. It's just nothing like it. For me, it's just indescribable. So I said, when I get set, I'm going to buy this 6-pack. That was the intention. Last year I couldn't do it. Now I'm doing this year. So that's what I'll be doing for my birthday. So yeah, man, it was an eventful weekend, man. Struck up conversations with people I didn't know, about some everything. When I was ice skating out there, speaking to a couple of young brothers, one named Cam and another one named Chris. And Chris told me about a place in Mississauga, which is about a 40-minute drive from here, where they do old school disco roller skating. You can use the old 4 wheels, or you can use a new inline. So that's something that's going to be on my bucket list. And mind you, people, I'm also developing a mentoring program, and I'm writing this program from scratch. And ultimately, one of the aims of my mentoring program is to actually get these kids exposed to that type of culture. Because a lot of these kids in this city, at least, Canada is a world they know nothing about. One, because a lot of these parents in Niagara Falls, they have a criminal record. Unfortunately, a criminal record pretty much keeps you out of Canada unless you fork over a lot of money to just get in front of the consulate to have your case heard, and for them to grant you transit in there. So it's a part of the program that I believe is pivotal to these kids, and it can open up the world to them. Because like I tell them, I said, living in Niagara Falls, I said, not only is the cost of living excellent, you are an hour drive from a multicultural, very diverse city in Toronto. We are also a 1-hour flight from New York City, which is a world-renowned city. Not that Toronto isn't. New York is just bigger. Toronto's a smaller version of New York City, but it's growing quickly. I'm walking around the city, and there's construction going on day and night. They don't stop. Real estate prices are skyrocketing. Property values are skyrocketing. It's getting to the point where Toronto's burgeoning economy is pushing things outward. So all the people that are looking for inexpensive homes and things of that nature, they're moving south. And me being the person that I am, I'm kind of hoping that that effect hits Niagara Falls, New York, because that's going to raise the property of my land. But that's another topic for a different time. So let's get into part 4 of this. I didn't actually think we would really go this long with this. It's quite interesting how many twists and turns we've taken with this. So let me start with, in no particular order, the topics, the show topics. Dave that posted, I believe, last week, do you have trust issues? Do you want to check your man's phone? Do you want to keep tabs on him? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And usually that results from a previous relationship where your man, or if it's your woman, has stepped out on you. And that's something that you have to deal with internally. Because if you have trust issues or anxiety issues, and you want to go through a person's phone, you want to be up underneath them, you're not giving them any space, eventually you're going to push them away. And I was just listening to a podcast when I was driving home or out and about running errands, that for the length of time you spend in a relationship, you should take half of that time and heal. Now that's a revelation to me, because I've never heard that before. But me personally, I always give myself time after a relationship to heal before I get into another one, because what happens is you end up with residual issues and you carry them with you. And this is one of the things I was talking about last week when I mentioned baggage. A lot of people seem to think that they don't have baggage, and let's face it, we as humans, we are great at diagnosing somebody else's problems, but we are terrible at diagnosing our own problems. Most people aren't brutally honest enough with themselves to do that. Me, I think, and this is just my personal opinion of myself, I think highly. So, this is a news class.
Hold on, Herb. I hate to be rude. I got to cut in because you said something. You were listening to some podcast, and they said, as long as you've been in a relationship, you should take that time to heal. So if someone's been in a relationship for 6 or 7 years, they should take 6 or 7 years to heal. They'll be damn near dead.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Half that time. So if you've been in a relationship for 6 or 7 years, you should take at least 3.5 years to heal. Because what the narrator was saying, I think it was either Ron Wells, and he's a gentleman that I listen to. There's 3 gentlemen whose podcast that I listen to, among other things. One is named Ron Wills, ROMWILLS. Of course, I've mentioned Kevin Samuels. And then there's Alan Roger Curry. Curry's being spelled Currie. I encourage everybody. As a matter of fact, that's your homework assignment, is to go to YouTube. It's free. Costs you nothing. Do it while you're working out, while you're washing dishes, while you're cooking, while you might be eating, or whatever the case is. Just listen to the information that they give out about relationships. And let's face it, life is nothing but one relationship. It's a huge, ongoing, daily, weekly, yearly, monthly relationship. All it is how you relate to people. Do you relate to people at all? And if not, then you have to figure out why you don't. Because you can put me in any situation, I'm going to relate to people, just like I did this past week in Toronto. I had no problem striking up a conversation with anybody, no matter where I went, whether it was on the street, whether it was in the dining facility, whether it was in a hotel with the front desk staff. You have to come out of your shell. And in order to do that, you have to expose yourself to certain things. It's just like an inoculation. When they give you an inoculation, they give you a dead version of the virus. So your body builds up antibodies, and it can fight off any potential infection. Relationships work the same way. The more you do something, the more you get accustomed to doing it. Now, like I said last week, there are a lot of things that cost you no money. There are some things that cost you very little money. You want to learn how to do something? Fork over $20, $30. If $20 or $30 is too much to invest in your happiness, then you know what? You're going to be miserable forever. To the ballroom classes, ballroom dancing class, not ballroom class, ballroom is the actual name of the individual that teaches it.
I
took swing dance, and a lot of people are like, why do you take the swing dance? Because it's something new.
let me interject. Let me interject.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you said go to YouTube, but let's be real. Let's be realistic. How many people 40, 45 are actually going to take the time to log in, set up an account on YouTube? That's just one more thing that they have to worry about. If they got Instagram, if they got their regular email, they got their work email, then to log on to YouTube. I just don't see many people doing that. Now, me per se, I'm on it because I have a YouTube channel, and also I've subscribed to a lot of boxing stuff on YouTube, so I get that stuff automatically. But if I wasn't into that, I just can't see, not that it's a bad thing, but I just can't see many people doing that. Now, we also do have somebody on the line. Caller with the area code 302. Sandra, what's going on? You playing games with these numbers, because how the hell you have a 302 number, but I know you live in the 716?
For me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
This is Sandra.
204 is my phone number, house phone.
Oh, no, this number is 3.
I have the 302 number.
Who is this?
Oh.
Who is the 302? Hello?
I don't know. It's not me.
Hello?
Yeah, who is 302?
It's Wanda. I have a 302 number. I used to live in the Albany region.
Okay. Oh, no, there's no problem with it. I was just messing with Sandra. As far as that. All right. So we got Swanda on here. We got Sandra. So Herb was talking about pretty much the exposure of doing different things and trying different things. Or we already know if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. So at a certain time, you have to expand yourself and try different things. And I'm being rude. I know it was a ton of people that came on. I didn't get a chance to shout you out individually, but thank you all for joining tonight in parts 4 discussion. But I want to give Swanda, because I know she was on here, a chance to kind of, what's your whole take on this relationship ready thing?
I mean, in terms of being ready for a relationship, you got to get yourself together. No matter what in terms of trying to deal with somebody else, you're interested in, you know, Canada, New York City, whether you order yourself and get yourself in a good place mentally, all of that is worthless.
But don't you think many people, it's a humbling thing for many people to say they don't have their stuff together. So most people think they have their stuff together, but deep down inside, they really don't, and they haven't done anything to make changes from their previous relationship. Just my take.
I agree 100%.
Thank you, Sandra. Do you want to add anything, Sandra, to this segment before we move forward?
Yeah, and it might be a part 5.
Go ahead, speak your piece.
You know, recently I decided a guy pursued me, and I said, okay, let's do this. And on one of our encounters, it was like, he said that I said some stuff, but I didn't say nothing toward him. It was toward the fact that I had tried to put more data on my phone, and I got mad because they cut my phone off because they didn't get the payment. My bill is paid. It's not due until the 19th. And I went to put more data on there, and I got mad with the phone company for interrupting my service. And I may have said something. I don't even know what I said, but I was pissed. And he kind of took it like I was saying it to him. Something. I don't even know what it was he said, because I kind of like instantly did not want to hear anything when it wasn't even. My comment was not even, geared toward him.
Well,
So
go ahead.
I'm just saying, that's
So
kind of messed up, because I ain't got time for that. How you gonna misunderstand something when it wasn't even pertaining to you?
well, did you take the time to kind of let him know?
No, because we blocked each other and stopped talking.
Well, it wasn't meant to be anyway. It's like he's a ticking time bomb. If y'all couldn't get a chance to process and reflect on that to move forward, it seems like it was a misunderstanding. And I don't know,
Right.
did you explain to him initially? Did you explain to him that you had stuff going on with your phone and you was upset? So if you came off wrong, you apologize.
I'm not even sure if I did.
Oh, well, there you have it. There you have it.
Period. And it was not pertaining to him. I invited him actually to this daggone thing, but he ain't came yet.
Herb?
Herb?
I guess
Herb will be right back.
Yeah, I guess so. So, anyways, as people can see, it sometimes it's just little things like that
Right.
that can throw the whole relationship off. And it's unfortunate that it's still at the beginning of that stage, but it might be a good thing, because
right, a good thing. That's a good thing.
If already you having communication issues and it got to this point, then who knows when something major would happen, how it would respond. But I guess people also got to have a little more resolve to say, you know what, that's not going to cause me to run away. But who am I to say? Because I'm stubborn as hell. I probably would be at the same point. I don't know what Herbert. He probably went ballroom dancing or something. But
he said he'll be right back.
Oh, okay. So I guess that's a valuable lesson. And I know for the talking point number one, do you finish one relationship and heal before getting into the next one? We always say that's critical, and I don't know if many people know when the right time to jump into something, because sometimes it depends on time, the season, and you may think like, okay, I don't have nothing going on, but this is the opportunity right here. I'm kind of interested in that person, but you never really work on other issues ahead of time. And let me put this disclaimer out. I am not no damn relationship expert. I just simply, like I say, like to stir the pot. So I think with these conversations, we all can be open and, bring information forward. Like last week, my man came in and he said, he's 48 years old. He said, and at this point, he's single. And he said he felt like all his relationships was a failure. That's big for people to be able to admit that then there was a failure. And most people won't admit that, or they'll have a blame game and blame everyone else for their downfall. So we still always got to work on self and try to be the best that we can be, even though every day we deal with a lot of distractions. All right. Who else on here? Okay. I don't know if Swanda got off. So
I'm still on.
Oh, you still on? So any commentary you got to say about that?
What, on entering a relationship before you heal?
Yeah.
I mean, I think nowadays everybody has that tendency of just trying to, get over one by getting under the other. That doesn't really work. You kind of really got to take some time, separate, pull back, nurture self, revisit your interests, and then get into something.
But don't
But everybody's process is different.
you think during
Those
it?
people who are serial gators, after a while, you get to see that one thing is it doesn't really matter who they with. They just don't want to be by themselves.
Yeah, and especially during this time, this is it's a nice little stretch here that it's months that things are going on. I mean, Thanksgiving, family oriented, people getting together, pretty much the whole month of December with holiday parties, work parties, family gatherings, and then you got January, people getting ready for those income taxes, and you got people easing their way back in your life, some guys, Melvin and the crew, and then February, Valentine's Day. So it's like never ending. And these are times that people sort of get, go through that seasonal affective disorder of depression, and they feel like they need to have someone in their life.
Well, that's what hobosexuals are for.
Hobo.
Those guys are kind of like, I said a hobosexual, HOBO sexual.
So
Those guys now with they trash bags or whatever, trash bags full of clothes. They go to the house. They trying to prey on these females that got their situation together and is lonely enough to even look their direction.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
It's some
But I'm gonna tell you this too. Now, I have not been in a relationship. I mean, as far as a committed relationship in a long time. And then I decide, okay, I'm gonna do this. And because he pursued me, I usually pursue, but he pursued me. And I said, okay, well, let me try something different.
Okay, you said something interesting, Sandra. You said you usually pursue.
You pursue. You usually pursue. I don't understand that.
So you usually go after the man.
Yeah.
That's different. So tell us about that. Talk to me about that one. Talk to me about that one, because usually it's the other way around.
I usually say, okay, I'm going to go and do this and this, and my intentions really is not to get in a committed relationship. And this time, when he pursued me, and I said, okay, I'm gonna get into this. I'm gonna try it. You know what I'm saying? Because of what he was talking and what he's looking for. I said, okay, well, maybe I can see, and but it's the jealousy and insecurity and non-trusting. You don't even know me really not to trust me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm definitely capable of telling you I am grown. I don't have to lie to you about nothing. And anything I feel and I gotta say, I'm gonna say it. But don't interpret something I say about something else to be you. That's a total turn off to me.
So where did you meet him from? Did you already know this guy?
I've been knowing him for years.
At any point did you apologize?
For what?
If you was using a certain language, or you was going about the certain
for him.
I mean, did you say, I'm sorry, that's not even meant for you, I'm really upset?
No, I didn't.
Because, at the end of the day, if it was a miscommunication, you could have did something to clear it up.
But if it was a miscommunication, he could have also did something to clear it up, because he heard something wrong.
Exactly.
He heard me say something about a phone and took it as him. Why would you do that? He know my phone was off.
Maybe maybe it had a lot to do with like the general, maybe the body language, the language you was putting out your mouth, maybe your facial expressions might have changed. And it's like sometimes we have to be mindful of how we're presenting what we're saying to the persons that are around us. If we wrong, we wrong. Apologize.
I don't know.
That 55-38-7. You heard it,
And I
Sandra.
mean, I'm not just wasn't there, but I know that, you know, at the end of the day, that's one of the things that we as Black women have to accept. We have to accept responsibility when we know we're not communicating in a way that's soft, that's kind, and that's pleasant. And when we're not doing it, we have to apologize. We got to accept it. We got to switch it up. It could have been as simple as, you know, I'm sorry I came off like that. It wasn't about you. You know, that's it. But if you didn't say that and you mad at him for being mad, how else was he supposed to?
I'm mad at him. I'm just going on. Shit.
No, I can't.
Sandra.
No, you know, again, I don't know you, but I know how sometimes I fly off and I got to turn around and I got to own it. And I got to say I'm sorry.
I gotta listen to you because I don't know. I got to listen to you. You're making a valid point there. You are.
Look,
I'm so, huh?
at one time I got into it with my guy. It was just a back and forth. It wasn't even an argument. It was a back and forth. And then I got frustrated. He got frustrated. And I went into the other room. And in that time, I'm mad at him. He's mad at me. And we wasn't saying nothing when it was nothing that neither one of us was mad about.
Or should have been mad about, right?
It was really nothing. I mean, literally, it was over Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
Okay. Yeah, that's something like this, over Ice Cube. That's something like this.
I didn't want to argue with him and go back and forth, so I got silent. And you know the silent treatment could be worse than just the argument.
Yeah.
So here it is. I'm bad, and I wasn't mad. I just didn't want to go back and forth about Ice Cubes no more. But I had to apologize just simply because it just kept going on, and he still took the way that I was communicating as negative. So I still had to own it to make sure that if it goes there, that I'm not giving off those vibes. You know, the icy still grit, the tight lips, the don't touch me type of demeanor. Like, that ain't what relationships is rocking with. You could be that same girl that you was when you were 16 and wanted to go over and see your boo and you smiling and you happy to be around him and you want to hold his hand. That's way better.
Sometimes you have to save face. Sometimes somebody has to save face.
Look, I got to the point where I don't care about being right none of the dang time. I want to be happy. Being right can go out the window because when I was so right, it left me by myself in my whole I'm so rightness.
Mm.
Okay, I got you.
I don't even care. I could let that go out the window. Like I said, it was about Ice Cube. I don't care about the Ice Cube. I'll just drink my beverage hot.
Yeah.
So I can sit here and snuggle and be happy again. You know, so that's how I feel.
Yeah.
So Swan, it sounds like you saying sometimes you can humble yourself for a better outcome.
Look, I had to. I can't, like, I need peace of mind like everybody else.
That's big.
There's so many people that absolutely, they're happy in their existence with their significant other. Because sometimes right doesn't even matter. I could not care less. I humble, of course, because I want you to be happy. I want me to be happy. And sometimes when I want to be right, I'm not happy and neither are you.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that the great Dale Carnegie said, that that when you have arguments or you're going back and forth, there's really no true winner. Because if that's your whole thing is to try to win an argument, and at the same time the other person is down and out, that should have some type of impact on you. unless you just a cold-hearted individual. And like I said before, some of this stuff filter into when you go into your workplace. If you unhappy or been going back and forth with your significant other at home, then you go to work. Who knows? Your responses might be more snappier, or might be all in your facial expressions. And I remember when I was in my grad school for my master's program, the professor has said definitely said, David does not, have a poker face. So his stuff is written all over his face. So there's no way that I can kind of hide what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling. And I know sometimes I have to work on that, because dealing with students, they could be saying something, I could be giving them a look like, what the hell you talking about? And they pick up on those things. So that 55%, that 55-38-7, that non-direct, that body language, that could be a killer in a relationship. So Sandra, we're saying basically you might want to rethink that and come with a different approach.
Thank you.
Because it's not how what you may know what you meant, but it's how he interpreted, and that's what matters. So somehow you have to try to change his mindset so he could say, all right, okay, I got you. And if that's something you really want to do. All right.
Well, I could see if it was some time invested, like a lot of time. I mean, I do like him. I think he like me, but it's just so hard to get cross from. How could you even interpret what I said was geared toward you? You know what I'm saying? How could you even do that?
Dietrich is on.
There.
Well, it sounds like you have to move. You have to move past that. That was already done. So now it's a matter of, do you want to continue, or do you think y'all two can build and grow and have something, or you just like, nah, this killed it. And I know Brother Dietrich is on here, so you can feel free to chime in and give your feedback as well.
All right. Peace, ladies. Peace, counselor.
Peace.
I guess I got to fill in for her. I got to fill in for her a little bit. I guess he having some technical difficulties.
Go ahead, brother. We're always looking for different perspectives.
All right. I would like to say, first, the time thing that you and Herb was talking about. Should somebody take time after they come out of a relationship? Certainly, they definitely should. Nobody should just jump into a relationship after they came out of one. They should always take time to regroup, to get to know themselves, because you lose yourself a lot in relationships. Because in relationships, you got to form a partnership. And now you're coming out of a partnership with one person and trying to go into another one. And they might operate totally different. And that at some point in your relationship, you're trying to satisfy the other person that you was with in the relationship prior. So now you have to regroup and get back to your solid ground and be like, well, pretty much that, you know what, now I got to refine myself. I got to find myself back to where and who I am and deal with a relationship. You can't just keep jumping from relationship to relationship to relationship without getting to know yourself. Some people never been alone. They always in a relationship. And that's not good for nobody.
Right.
You always got to have some time for love for self, to get to know yourself.
Yeah.
And my other comment about the sister, I don't know who had the guy with the phone thing.
Yeah.
Sandra.
That don't even seem like it should have been. That don't even seem like it should have been taking place.
It should have took place. I don't think.
Yeah, if y'all stop talking because of that, y'all should have never started talking.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But it seemed like it was a lack of communication, and that's the problem with a lot of relationships. We don't know how to communicate. We do a lot of assuming in relationships.
So
I call those conversations that people have in their head. It's
Right,
like
and that's what he had that conversation in his head.
So why didn't you pick
By
it to his
himself.
head to see? Why you didn't pick it to his head to see what he was thinking?
Because at the point, at the time, I had to get home,
Sound
and
You
it sounded like
this
this was whole thing was sabotage. Like, you both jumped into
Right.
something and you decided any little
I
thing.
should have jumped into. That's all it is to it.
But you know what? The reality is that a lot of times with relationships, we don't know ourselves and we don't know what we want. And so basically we go into relationships not even having a clue or idea of what we want. Like I had this one sister told me that she was interested in this guy and she was like, she don't want anything. And so basically she agreed to an agreement or they just would, have a little action. Now she's upset because she's like, it seemed like he's not interested in me. And I said, I thought you said you didn't want anything. And she said, well, I just want to get to know him. And I said, well, is that what he's doing or is he doing something different? And she became upset about the situation because she felt like at first they was on the same page. Then 3-4 days later, she's on page 9, and he's still on page 1. And like I told her, I was like, if you communicated that you didn't want anything, and this is what you want, now you have to just be cool about it because you shouldn't have made that agreement that you didn't agree upon. Now you want to change and be like, yo, now it's time for a relationship, and he's not ready for it.
No,
I think a lot of times
we both discussed. He wanted a relationship, and I said, okay, I'll try this. I wasn't for sure that I did, but I said, let me try and give it my all into this. So, yeah.
Do you feel you really gave it your all?
Yeah, I think I did. I said all that I knew.
Well,
how she giving the all she knew as soon as it was a miscommunication with the phone thing? She was like, they blocked each other.
Well, because that's just...
there wasn't no apology, even though the apology would be a part of the all. I'm sorry, Sandra. I'm still on the, you could have said.
Because I am open to this, because I want to know what I'm doing wrong, because this is the first time in a long time that I even attempted to say, okay, that we can have anything else other than,
okay.
That I will go into a relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, how long y'all been talking? How long you
So
been
put it like this. If you and him were still just friends and you was fussing about something and cussing, would you say, excuse me for all of that? It doesn't even have anything to do with you.
Would I?
Yeah.
If I was going to fuss and cuss, yeah. But
I mean,
I try to avoid conflict at all times.
No, but I mean, because you said that you said something. You're not sure how you said it, but I'm just gonna assume there was some fuss in there.
No, it was nothing geared toward him at all. It was all geared toward him cutting my phone off after my bill is not due until the 19th, and I wanted data. I added data, and I probably said something, and I don't even know what it was, but I was just so pissed off that they would cut my phone off.
He was in your presence?
He would go ask for the money for the phone. That's what he thought.
He was in your presence?
He would go for the money to get his phone turned back on.
No, I don't need no money from him. I got my own.
So let me ask you this, Sandra, and I brought this up before, the miracle question. Is your world better with or without him? Right now, what are you feeling? On a scale of 1 to 10.
My world was fine.
So on a scale of 1 to 10.
You was talking to this guy.
Huh? We've been talking probably about 6 weeks.
Oh my God.
I've been knowing him for 20-something years.
Yeah, it sounds like that's just somewhere. That's the line that y'all should have crossed.
We should have crossed.
It ended too quick.
We
To me,
should have just made it a sexual thing and that's it.
Hey, I ain't say that, but okay.
I'm just saying that's what we should have did. Try each other out and see if if it could or would or whatever.
No, that's something you should have communicated with him with. Because what it
But that
seems
was
like to
nothing.
me,
Neither one of us. We were looking for a Well, he was looking for a relationship, and I said, okay, I'll try.
But still, I still got to question him too. If he was really looking for a relationship, then he shouldn't have let it. He shouldn't let you walk away that easy. I don't know. It seemed like wires got crossed, and it was
Somewhere, right?
miscommunication, and now y'all both like at an impasse. So y'all just gonna let it fizzle out. But
Right.
what are you gonna do when the next person says, you know what, I want to have a I want to have a relationship with you?
No, nigga. No, I'm just
but you know what, counselor? Like I said, you got to know what you want, because she went in. She said he was looking for a relationship.
Right.
She said, "Okay, I'll try." To me,
right. Because I don't want to. I mean,
Well, your language is wrong.
Okay. So tell me how I could correct it.
We already said like that apology could have been communicated off the bat.
Right. Okay. So I got that.
But what you gonna do with the information? What are you gonna do with the information?
I read about it, but I didn't realize females really don't apologize.
Man,
This apology is just so different. Like, it's wrong. I don't know.
It's a lot of.
I don't have a problem apologizing.
There's a lot of people with a lot of Arthur Fonzarelli in them that they just can't say, I apologize, or what Fon's thing was. He couldn't say he was sorry, but they say you shouldn't say that anyway.
But if I don't feel like I've done anything wrong,
listen.
I apologize for you misunderstanding what I was saying.
Think about it. Think about it. A 20-year relationship as friends. Y'all start talking for 6 weeks. Over a phone, your phone gets turned off, with you paying the bill, and them not thinking that you paid the bill and turn off your phone, and you can communicate with them. It seemed like an easy fix to me, but
okay, well,
blocked him. You blocked him. He blocked you. And to me, honestly, like grown people blocking each other, kind of childish.
Yeah, well, I don't want to hear it.
You don't need no relationship. You don't need no relationship.
Right. That's probably the right. That. You know what? I came to that conclusion myself too. But I said, I don't know.
So do it get to a point?
Right. Okay. So y'all can get off of me now. I know that I might need to apologize. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't.
All right, we apologize for getting you brought the issue, which I'm proud of you. You brought it to the table, and we just elaborated on it, not to pick on you or anything.
That's why it might be a part 5.
Man, I mean, and if you think about it, again, we always talk about the communication piece, and that's simply something that could be fixed. It's just, I always make reference to what my grandmother said. She said, man, sometimes she used to just let my grandfather talk. Just let him talk. And she would say, when he wasn't around, it didn't matter if he was there or not, but like, he ain't talking about shit. So I just let that man talk. To save face, to keep moving, and to have another day. Not that they were going anywhere because they were together, but that's just an example of something I always picked up on her saying. Sometimes you just got to let a person talk. Because two people talking and nobody listening, and I think right now, after this died down, that y'all should be able to come to it and depending, like Swanda said, depending on the words you use, I think y'all could pick it right back up. But
Especially after 20 years as friends.
Yeah, and we did communicate our wants.
see, and this is the importance, and even like I said, with even as adults, we still go through things, and we end up losing out on relationships because of something that's minor, a miscommunication, because we're not communicating right, and things happen.
And we don't know how. We don't know how
Right.
to communicate. And so it's like, and I'm not trying to jump on you women, but women, they become so emotional that sometimes they just let out without thinking it out. And they say things that they don't mean out of emotions, do things that they don't mean out of emotions, and they get really upset and angry out of emotions instead of controlling their emotions.
Well, we're emotional creatures, y'all not.
Okay, no. That's a mishap right there.
Men are emotional.
Men are emotional too, but we hide our emotions. That's how we were trained from our communities on up. Because you have to think about it. When young black boys grow up, we are taught not to cry. Cry, you're a sissy. Don't show that you like somebody. Try to get many girls as you can. This is a training that we received that was incorrect. So now we think that we're emotionless, and we walk around like that. We act like we can't cry. To cry in front of other guys is like, look at him, he crying. To be in love with somebody is like soft. Oh, he's in love. Look at him, he's open.
Yeah.
So we're taught to be cold.
And the thing to add to that is, with some women, when a guy wants to break down or be emotional, now the person is too sensitive. So sometimes guys may feel like, okay, I got to keep my guard up because right now I'm really upset about this, and I may want to shed some tears because I'm passionate about what's going on. But you hear the phrases "man up" and all of this stuff. So that's just something that could be a relationship destroyer in certain instances when you putting stuff out there like that.
Because men to be like hurt about their women, to be like, yo, forget her in front of their boys. But when they go in their house by themselves and they think about it, they might cry. Be like, damn.
I wonder if his ass is crying.
And you what?
I said, I wonder if his ass is crying. I said, I know.
Wow.
Oh, no, he probably ain't crying yet.
Right.
But that's the way that we're taught and trained. So realistically, and the real sense of thing, all of us have a cold display of relationships and how relationships should be. And now we got women thinking that they're men, so they becoming cold like that with their emotions.
Well,
It
I
used
think
to be
the
what-
men don't want them to be that way.
You said you think what?
Men taught women to be that way.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
So how do you move forward with this when you're struggling through that, when women are kind of shutting down and they're making comments like "man up" or "he's too sensitive," instead of just, there's ways that could a simple touch control, a simple rub on that man's back, like, listen, I wasn't even talking to you about that, baby. This was something else. I was just upset. I'm tired of this phone carrier, or something like that. Little touch control could soothe the savage beast at any time. You agree, Sandra? You disagree?
She got quiet. She like.
Well, I didn't even realize. I was home when I realized it was a problem. So I wasn't even with him when I realized that he took it some other kind of way.
So y'all wasn't in each other's presence.
He couldn't call me on the way home because my phone was off, you know. So until I got my phone back on, that's when I realized it was a problem.
What he left?
It was like some distance between the initial his thought process and when I found out when it happened. And then at that time, I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds like some crazy shit here. Let me just, yeah, okay, you go ahead on about your business, and I go about mine.
So that's what you conveyed? That's what you said to him?
Yeah, that's how we do.
No, I didn't say it to him. I just blocked him.
So you didn't even communicate with him?
No, I didn't communicate with him. For what? That's what I'm saying. Why would he interpret something? He knew that my phone was cut off. And it was nothing he could do because I paid the top up, the data top up for my phone. And they cut my phone off anyway. So yes, when I left, I was pissed.
Are we missing?
Because I got to stick this home, and I just needed to get home, and my car was at home, so I couldn't do it. I had her to call me and for her to give me the numbers to do the top off, but she apparently gave me the wrong numbers for my card.
So are we missing something in this? Because
I don't know, maybe.
Are you leaving something out? Because it seemed to me like there's a piece missing. Like, did he call you going?
Okay, so what happened was.
Okay, now let's get it all out there now.
Tried to put the top off because of data on my phone because he didn't know his password for his Wi-Fi. Okay, so now I need some data on my phone because I had used it all. That was last night. So I called my sister. My card is at home because I don't go nowhere with it. It's at home. She called the numbers out. I think I put it on, and it worked. I don't know. It worked. But then when I got up that morning to call my sister because she's sick, it said that my services has been suspended because I needed to pay for my pop-up data that was put on my phone, which I didn't understand because if I didn't pay for it, then why the hell would you cut my whole phone off? And when I got up and found that out, I was just like pissed, and I left. So
where does he come in at?
He said that I said, well, he left me a text message saying that I said something, talk to him down to him, or something like that.
And you know what, Sandra? You know what? By the way you explaining it, I think you did say something.
You think
Yeah,
I did?
I think Sandra need to call him after this show.
Yeah, I think you said something.
and talk
out of pocket.
That should be the end of this.
Yeah, I think you said something out of pocket.
That should be the end of this. Because
You gotta make a pie or something. You gotta make him a pie or something special, like maybe a pan of lasagna or something. I don't know.
Because it seems like they're not communicating for no reason at all. Like the reason she's giving, it sounds so off that.
But it's the truth, though. That's what happened. I didn't find out until I got home.
Right, but you need
that he had these feelings.
Look, just take my advice. Just call him after and talk to him. Try that.
Probably blocked her.
Yeah, because I blocked him. I don't know if he blocked me or not. I am being honest, Herb.
Well, wait a minute. I thought you mad at him for blocking you, but you blocked him?
I blocked him, yeah.
Hey, David, that's why I say that blocking is for children. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop that. Blocking people you really want to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Not only blocking you, and everybody's blocking each other, but let's just say you really want to talk to the person that's blocking you because they added that feature, and you find little teens doing it. Oh, I'm going to block this person. Get out of here with that. And now we're doing it as adults. And I just think that anything that you're going through in a relationship with a person that you love or care about, you should be able to communicate with them. You should be able to talk to him.
Hmm?
20 years?
We ain't been in no relationship 20 years.
Y'all been friends for 20 years.
Right.
You still don't love him?
Love him as a
No.
friend.
Well, love is in degrees. Love is not based on boyfriend, girlfriend, friend. It's about different degrees. That's what
Okay,
people
well,
get mixed.
I love him unconditionally.
Stop.
Okay, then you do love him. So basically,
No conditions, not because we was in a relationship.
But it is
Basically,
it is conditions. That's why y'all not. That's why he's blocked.
Right.
and you need to call him. You need to call him after this, and then thank David later and say, "I got on your show that night, and I repaired our friendship. I'm so glad." Because right now you tripping.
I'm tripping.
Yeah. Tripping.
Yeah, no holiday parties for you and Cletus.
Yeah, you crazy. Not yet.
Listen, who said something? Anybody got anything else? Because we typically run over this, and I have no problem with somebody coming in and they giving their real life situation, and we try to diagnose it. And this is a perfect example of what communication can do and how life is short. So we're not getting any younger, and we could be here today and gone tomorrow, and then it would be a damn shame if something happened to, not that I'm trying to wish anything bad, but if something, something happened and y'all never had a chance to really express.
I'm on a live show, so can I call you back? All right, bye.
Sound like you got somebody else calling. Yeah, I heard a guy voice. He ain't blocked.
No, he's blocked. That wasn't him.
Yeah, I know. It's somebody else.
You got that phone back on, got a new man.
No, I ain't not doing my old man.
Mm.
Right.
Wow. So anything, I mean, did we even get well, we didn't get to all of these points, so I don't know if it's gonna be huh?
I said I'm
Oh no, don't worry about that. It's never been a time in me doing this stuff for like about 4 years that I ever get through all of the talking points. I'm okay with this just for people seeing communication, and hopefully if somebody's going through the same type of thing, they can say, man, let me put my best foot forward and maybe reach out to this person, especially if you feel your world is better with that person. But Sandra, you said your world was okay without it. So I mean, I just
it might be better. I don't know.
See, you too stubborn at this point. Like you don't want to work an honest program.
Right.
Yeah, she don't want to take no ownership.
No, I did take ownership. I listened to a girlfriend tell me what she told me, and I'm thinking about it.
Well, that's a step. That's a step forward, and maybe
Right.
and that's what it takes.
Bake him a pie. No, I didn't mean to say it like that, but it's something to.
Well, being that y'all both blocked each other, you probably gonna have to go by his spot, and I don't know if you want.
Oh no, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, see, I don't want to advise that either. So. You know damn well that you can stick a fork in it. If it's been, when did you block him? Since last night, or when did you block him? On Sunday. So after him possibly trying, Sunday, today Monday, yeah. So it's relatively new. So you may have a couple days in him if you undo the block. He may reach out. But if it goes,
and when you block somebody, do it block their text as well? Or just block
everything?
Yeah, they can't communicate.
The voice, when they call, it goes straight to the voicemail, and you don't get any texts.
You can leave a message on the voicemail.
I don't know.
Well, that's what she need to do if she can.
If he left a message.
Wow.
Yeah, she need to see if she can leave a message and tell
No,
him.
if he left a message.
No. You need to leave a message for him. You was in your feelings and not you want to talk to him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he blocked me. I blocked him.
Right. So call him or text him. That's what we're saying.
Unless
Do something. Do whatever you got to do to communicate with him.
and let's be real, Sandra, you the one who had the issue with the phone thing, and he felt
No,
like
he had the issue. He sent me a text message saying that I'm not going to talk to him that way.
so clearly
He
you
sent me a
you were upset about your phone being turned off, so you probably said something out of pocket. You spazzed out on him.
He just didn't say you're not gonna talk to me that way just to say it. He was just talking something. He was talking some big talk.
Okay. Well, I see.
Let's be honest. I could tell right now the way you talking on here. You was talking some big talk.
When I wasn't toward him.
It was towards somebody.
It's about the
He
the way
he said you're not gonna talk to me. He said you're not gonna talk
That way.
to me this way.
it was the
Right,
way he
right.
took it, and that's what matters. The way people interpret it. So you have to work on their mindset to try to change it up. I mean, we can go back and forth with this, but again, it's just one more element that people can see, like how we are at impasses in relationships, and it don't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter. This stuff don't change. I mean, it ain't just no teenage or somebody in their 20s. This is 40s, 50s, 60s. This stuff is real.
Right.
And we have to, and there's no cookie cutter approach, but I think you have to try different things if that person means anything to you. Any closing remarks? Because I'm not going to let it go much further. I'm sure, I don't know if it'll be a part 5, but I'm sure it'll be some form and it'll be connected. All these topics intertwine with each other. So any closing remarks? I don't know. Swanda, you still on here?
I'm here.
Any closing remarks that you have to say about? Seems like we got on the subject of communication and miscommunication, and that's okay. We discussed that. So anything you want to close out with?
Basically said I had to say, like I said, when it comes to communicating with someone else, it can't just only be about you. Like I know there was a whole lot about people growing and being set in what they want or what their expectations are or their standards. But you still have to realize that if you're going to be involved with somebody else, it takes a lot of communication, compromising, giving, humbling. And if you can't do that, then you end up in a position where you should just stay by yourself until you can.
Thanks, Tawanda, for speaking to me, because it could be very well all y'all. Could be my fault,
I mean, I'm not even. At no point am I saying you're at fault, but there is a part of it which you have to accept ownership of.
Right.
And it's not a matter of fault. You just have to accept, I could have handled it differently and, move from there. And if it's somebody who you respect even as a friend, you still owe him, that much.
Right. Well, I agree with you. Thanks for your input.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
We each one teach one. We gotta do this. we can't go around keeping that angry black woman thing going.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is what Herbert said. He said the hardest thing women have to deal with is being honest or apologizing for a misunderstanding. It's not about a fault. It's about recognizing an error and understanding. So I don't know when this is what I'm just getting. Dietrich, you got any closing?
He just put it up.
Okay. Dietrich, you got any closing comments?
Yeah, I would say communication is everything. If you don't have communication, you don't have anything. But also, too, in relationships, and if things is not the way that you want it to be, take 100% responsibility for what you say, what you do, and don't look for the fault of the other person. Look for the fault in yourself, and then correct your faults. And don't worry about the other person's faults. If you do something wrong, correct that. Don't sit up and be like, well, you said this, you did this. Let them recognize what they did wrong. You recognize what you did wrong, and then you correct yourself.
All right.
Okay, Kate.
Sandra, you got anything you want to close out with?
Well, I'm gonna try to call a digger and see what he say.
Okay. So you gonna keep us posted? You gonna let us know what?
I keep you posted.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I got one more thing, David.
Go ahead.
Also, too, if you haven't got David's book yet, make sure you get his book. Make sure we
Oh, yeah, I
support
gotta get
each
your
other.
book, David. I do.
Yeah, make sure we support each other because we have people listen to the show. We have people come on the show, but they still don't support the person, the author, and they're coming on the show. Support the man business to get his book. I got his
Support
book.
David. I just haven't gotten to it.
Okay. Well, I got his book. I'm about to get it on Kindle, and I'm his brother, and I'm still pushing
Oh,
for
okay,
other people
bruh.
to get it. So make sure y'all support him and get his book. The listeners, get the book. Let's support each other. Because one thing about us as a people, when there's somebody that we know, we have a hard time supporting them. But we go to Target, we go to Walmart, we don't care about the strangers that we're making rich that way. But when we think about our own people, the people that we know, we're like, well, he's making a lot of money. He's selling a lot of books. I'm not giving him none of my money. But we'll go to Target, Burger King, Popeyes, we'll do all that. And we'll feed everybody else except the people that we actually know. To me, that's just bad business.
No, I don't get the book. Dietrich, you remember me from Buff State?
Do I remember you from both states?
Uh-huh.
What's your name?
Wanda, you'll have to look at my profile. Your
Oh,
brother remembers me. All right. Yeah.
all right. I'm pretty sure I do. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, then, both. All right, both states. You got his book?
Whose book? Carlos?
David.
No, I have to get the book. I have to get his book. I have to get my niece's book. My niece is Kira J. So I gotta purchase a couple of books this season.
Okay, get busy. Get busy, Queen. Get the book.
All right.
Both states. Get the book. All right, David, that's it.
All right. I appreciate that. Hold on, I got a message. Lynette Patterson said communication is important. Own your part in what's wrong with the relationship and be about it. It's not hard. All right, Lynette, thanks for that feedback. And my closing comment is pretty much, we already know, we talk about these same things, communication and the ability to listen, as well as the ability to listen as well as speak with it, and that's a part of it. And in this particular situation, I think y'all let it go too far. I think it's something that could be rehashed and y'all can move forward, but it's just a matter of someone saving face and saying, you know what, I'm going to be, as you know, the old saying, I'm going to be the bigger person. I hate to use that, but that's the phrase that's thrown out there a lot. And realizing what people mean to you. And we struggle with that. And a lot of times people go around not speaking to family members, like siblings and cousins and friends you had over the years because of miscommunication, or two people, like I said, at an impasse, stuck in quicksand and not wanting to make things right. Because if you value people in your life, then you're going to, you try to treat them right and you try to do the right thing. So with that said, I'm out. of course, get the No Friday Foolishness. It's a self-help reflection book where many of these things we talk about on here, you can write it down, you can journal in it, and you can have those thoughts on paper instead of airing it out on social media from the beginning, and have some private thoughts. Everything ain't, before you put stuff in action, it's okay to have private thoughts. And then if you want the world to make it public, then that's on you. But start off with your own private thoughts first. And I think that's what No Friday Foolishness is about: establishing private thoughts and working on yourself, and then being able to ready to tackle the world because you thought about this and you reflected on it. All right. So with that said, I'm out. I want to thank Swanda for calling in. I want to thank Sandra for calling in and sharing her personal testimony, which is big. And I hope you don't feel we was picking on you. You know how the platform, and it's nothing but love and trying to help each other. I want to thank my brother Dietrich for coming in, and also Herb for the time he was in. And, we understand sometimes we all have technical difficulties and things happen, and we just keep pushing forward. So I'm out. Stay tuned for the watch party. Feel free to comment during the watch party. I'll be more attentive and be able to see like the different comments. So I'll chime in as well on that. So that's it, good people. I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your week. Be great. That's all I got to say. I'm out. Peace.